All right, Squirrel Tribe. So here are some of the latest breaking events happening around the world and important news headlining internet periodicals today. So China's hackers keep targeting U.S. water and electricity supplies, plus Russia likely behind widespread GPS outages. Also, after new U.S. strikes hitting Yemen, Iran issues a warning about suspected spy ships in the Mideast. Let's not forget that 1 year after East Palestine train derailment, Norfolk Southern CEO says there's more work to be done. And NBC News reports some residents are still drinking only bottled water because they don't believe the water in the town is safe, while several East Palestine residents still want answers nearly a year after the train's toxic spill, and families are afraid to go home. We did a live stream about East Palestine yesterday, which was on the 1 year anniversary of the Norfolk Southern train derailment and subsequent intentional release of chemicals and intentional fire that was set, and everything that's happened in the year since then. I will put that video at the end of this one if you want to take a look at that live stream from yesterday, just to get caught up on everything East Palestine. All right, now, over on the left coast, an intense atmospheric river moves into California, threatening to flood roads and trigger mudslides. I swear it feels like we have this headline every few months. Biden wins the South Carolina Democratic primary in the latest news linked to the U.S. elections. Meanwhile, a South Dakota tribe bans governor from reservation over U.S.-Mexico border problems. Cops raided a Toyota manufacturing plant in Japan, adding to the latest string of miseries at Toyota. And a soft landing seems likely, but Americans are warned that they will still have to deal with unaffordable housing. JP Morgan Chase customers' deposits go missing, and the bank says it has no idea where the money went. Makes you feel warm and fuzzy right there, doesn't it? And Citibank says, don't worry about it. It happens all the time to customers just 3 days before $40,000 vanishes from their bank account. We have an issue if that happens all the time, just so you know. Plus, they say millennials are gentle parenting. So the question is raised, is it producing entitled kids? I'll give you a heads up. The answer is yes. And the most recent shortage to hit this state and how it is affecting residents. Squirrel Tribe, welcome back to the channel. For those of you returning, I'm glad to have you back here again. Appreciate you wanting to go a second round, maybe 4th, 147th, 600th. I don't know how many videos I have on this channel. If you're brand spanking new, welcome. Sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, something to drink. I don't know, just chill. And hopefully you find this educational, entertaining, informative, relaxing. I don't know, but hopefully you enjoy. All right, so first up, a popular ice cream brand recalled over undeclared allergens. All right. A plant-based variety of the popular ice cream brand Connoisseur has been called back by its manufacturer and Food Standards Australia. Hold on, my nose is just, sorry. Batches of the vegan alternative ice cream was found to contain milk, an undeclared allergen, and what makes it completely not vegan or plant-based. So there's that. Peter's Ice Cream is conducting a recall of the plant-based hazelnut chocolate 1 liter tub at all major retailers in every state. The contaminated batches are marked with a best before date of October 3rd, 2025. Oh, my nose is just like crazy. Now, they use the word contaminated, I guess, because people who do have milk allergies, it would be a contamination to them. But in like the sense of the word, having milk in it isn't really a contamination. It's not something that, in my opinion, is like going to cause, you know, E. coli and stuff like that. But I can understand it's a non-wanted substance inside. So I guess contamination might be the right word. But anyway, it says here the product is currently available for sale in Woolworths, Kohl's, IGA, independent grocery stores, convenience stores, and other food retailers. Food Standards Australia warned that any consumers who have a milk allergy or intolerance may have an adverse reaction if the product is consumed. Consumers who have milk allergies were told not to consume the product, while anyone who purchased the tubs are eligible to return the ice cream for a full refund, which is what I tell you guys all the time. If something pops up as a recall, do not throw it in the garbage, as they suggest. Take that crap back to whatever store you bought it from. Get your money back, boo-boo, because that's your money. Instead of milk fat, the product, which boasts certifications from Vegans Australia, is made up of a mix of coconut oil, thickeners, vegetable gums, and vegetable origin emulsifiers, which is why I don't eat vegan ice cream, because coconut will kill me. But for those of you who are like, well, how did milk get in there? that's an issue with a lot of food these days, not just in the States, it seems, over in Australia too, where they are adding things in that they're not putting on the labels that don't belong there. Again, a lot of things changed over the last couple of years where manufacturers could make little tweaks and not have to update things. And then you had manufacturers who accidentally put things in. I don't know if this was on purpose or not, but either way, massive recall. For those of you down under in Australia, I think that's the phrase for Australia, not New Zealand. Don't eat the ice cream. So there's that. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so y'all, this one's funny. Bear with me here. Next, a Las Vegas stripper says, Uncle Sam is my favorite sugar daddy as she shakes her money maker in her birthday suit to pull in $10,000 a month. Y'all, $10,000 a month to wiggle your tassels and shake your booty. I mean, come on. Plus makes another $2,000 of VA disability benefits. This is going to sound wrong, but I'm picturing a disabled stripper shaking their booty and booby tassels. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, but like Chris Rock said, there is no sex in the champagne room, but she may need to get really creative and find some other way to increase her income earning potential because she owes the IRS $100,000 and has scary levels of debt too. And a subscription of this news story is titled Pushed to the Edge. That's what it's called, the title of the article I got this from. So it says the rising cost of living is pushing more people into precarious or stressful employment, according to a recent report by PYMNTs, which short for payments. 23% of consumers have a side gig for supplemental income. Income from side gigs can be unstable and unpredictable. It's also much more complicated to deal with during tax season. Gig workers might not know what they owe in taxes throughout the year and are at a higher risk of falling behind. This is according to H&R Block. Krista, that's the stripper's name. Krista, I was hoping her name was like Barbie or Bambi or Champagne or Portia or I don't know, but Krista works. So Krista, her tax problems stem from this lack of awareness. Her earnings are immensely volatile, fluctuating from just $4,000 to $5,000 a month in the summer to $13,000 in November. Because at Thanksgiving, what are you most thankful for? Strip clubs, I guess. Fellas, I don't know. She isn't sure about her tax burden, but estimates that she owes $60,000 for a previous tax year and $40,000 for the current tax year, for a total of $100,000 owed to the tax agency. That means Krista is pulling in some serious dollars that she's not really telling us. I mean, $4 or $5,000 a month and $13,000 a month. You would not owe $60,000 at the end of the year if you're only pulling in $4 or $5 a month and maybe $13,000 in this month. Krista's making extra money, just so we're all fully aware. Maybe Krista goes to the boom boom room. Says she's been avoiding the tax auditors, the tax collectors. I've been avoiding them. She was then prompted the follow-up question of who is them? And she says the accountant or the IRS, and she says both. Which, I mean, you owe that much money. A lot of people will avoid the IRS at all costs. The article continues to say how, fortunately, Krista spent 6 years in the U.S. Navy, which entitles her to medical coverage and roughly $2,000 a month in disability payments. This would offer her some stability in monthly income, but her bad spending habits have pushed her into more debt. In the following section of the story, listen, the following section is titled Bad Spending Decisions, and it goes into detail on Krista's spending habits, which they say have amplified her financial troubles. She got breast enlargement surgery because, you know, it's a work perk, I guess you could say, which she isn't sure can be written off, though, for tax purposes, even though it is part of the job. She purchased a property in Arizona, which is being refurbished to serve as a short-term rental. Her outstanding balance on that is just over $60,000. The home was financed by the seller of the property at a 10% interest rate, although Krista believed the rate was just 5% when she bought the place. Well, Krista, I see your hustle here going. I commend you for your hustle and thank you for serving for our country, but you need to know exactly what your interest rate is when you get into something. 5% and 10% makes a massive difference. It's a 5% difference, boo-boo. You need to know exactly what you're getting into. She was asked the now obvious rhetorical question, did you not look at what you signed up for? Read the fine print, right? Meanwhile, the renovations on the property were financed by her credit card. High APR there, I'm sure. She's very close to her $10,000 credit limit on that card. And to make matters worse, Krista decided to apply for a personal loan at a 15% interest to mitigate her monthly payments. Krista is just doing every single thing wrong, just every single thing. She said, I used that to consolidate debt, but I didn't do a very good job because I still have that debt. all you did was move it from a bunch of little places into one big place, but you still have the same amount. Maybe it makes it easier to make that one monthly payment as opposed to 5 or 6 separate ones. But then with those 5 or 6 separate ones, you had the ability to focus more on one if you needed to, as opposed to everything being in one. And now you have this larger amount due at the exact same time every month. That makes it a little harder sometimes. But that is just the tip of the iceberg, because altogether, Krista owes just over $59,000 in consumer debt with a $2,103 a month payment, like a monthly payment. This can all be seen on video, y'all, because it is uploaded. It's an uploaded episode of a financial audit with YouTube Caleb Hammer. I don't know if you guys have ever seen him. Caleb told her, "You've dug yourself a hole beyond holes." But this money-wise read continues on by saying how many Americans are in a similar position as consumer debt balances keep rising in recent months. And as of the third quarter of 2023 last year, credit card balances were an astonishing $1.08 trillion. That's a capital T, my dude. We've far bypassed the M's, the B's, now we're in the T's. So with rising interest rate, borrowers like Krista are finding it increasingly difficult to dig themselves out of this growing hole. But you do have options to get out from under the pile of debt. So Krista technically is on the right track with her instinct to consolidate her debt at a single lower interest rate. However, you can't simply take out another loan and hope for the best. You can get stuck in a churning cycle of debt easily if you don't also come up with and follow a household budget that includes debt repayment. If, like Krista, you've been putting off dealing with your financial mess, it might make sense to loop in a qualified financial professional to help you get on track. And with a little guidance, you may find no hole is too deep to get yourself out of, and there will be brighter days ahead of you. Being in debt of any sort sucks, especially if it's credit card debt, because you've done it to yourself by spending things on a lot of times spending money on things that weren't necessary, that you didn't need, that were more wants than necessities. Not always, obviously, but getting out of credit card debt or any kind of severe debt like that is definitely something that's going to make your life easier, make you breathe a little easier, take that stress off your shoulders. And if it seems like it's too difficult to do by yourself, there is no shame in talking to somebody who can help you figure out the best ways to get yourself out of that dark hole of debt, okay? Trust me, being out of it makes a massive difference. Now, speaking of Sun, The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow is a song that comes to mind because, one, I love Annie, the original, the redhead. I like the second one with Jamie Foxx, and I don't know that girl's name, but the original will always be my favorite. Listen, New York City breaks 11-day sunless streak as unseasonably warm weather looms. It's been a long couple of weeks. Severe storms to pose risk in central Florida on Sunday also. Can you imagine? I mean, maybe you can. 11 days of no sun. I don't know what I would do with myself. I mean, sorry, I'm looking for a ponytail holder because my hair is annoying the crap out of me. 11 days of no sun, I would lose my ever-loving mind. I went into a winter solstice funk over the last couple, 10 weeks. Last week was the first week where I felt like I was myself again. I hate winter and I don't mean that in the way it sounds, but I like the visual of winter, like up north winter, like the snow. I love Christmas lights. I love all that kind of stuff, but I don't like the drabby, dreary days where you can't go outside and just soak up sun. It drives me bonkers and it affects my mood every single winter. And moving to the beach has been better because there's definitely sunnier, warmer days here than there were in Georgia where we lived. But it still sucks those days where you're stuck inside because like today, Sunday here, it's gross and rainy and gray out. But 11 days straight of this, New York City, I feel for you. So talks of heavy downpours and wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour with occasional lightning and the potentials for an isolated tornado are all impacts meteorologists are warning everyone to watch out for today. I actually saw right before I started this that I believe they said a tornado touchdown. I think they said east of Tallahassee. It's not going to hit the area I'm at in the Panhandle, but they did say that there was a tornado touchdown. I swear they said east of Tallahassee, but I know it's in the Tallahassee area. So if you guys happen to be in that area or know anybody in that area, maybe reach out, make sure they are good. Now, another heads up and warning issued over yet another food recall because those seem to be never ending. This time it is for tomato soup and an allergy alert scare over an undeclared potential allergen that might be contaminating soups. Hardy Acquisitions, Inc. has recalled its tomato basil with rice product because the presence of soy was not declared on the label, and the butternut squash bisque product was labeled as the tomato and basil product too. So, wait a second. What that means is you have butternut squash bisque inside a can that was labeled as tomato and basil. So you get home and you're all thinking to yourself, man, I'm going to have some good tomato basil soup. And you pour it out into the pan and you're like, what the crap is this? Butternut squash. I'd be so mad if the wrong product came out of the package. But anyway, the company said, and I quote, "We're able to catch the error rapidly and a minimal amount of wrong labeled product was distributed to the public." They said the wrong labeled product was only distributed to 4 local stores in New York City. So at least it wasn't like a widespread thing, right? Soy allergies are one of the most common food allergies among infants and children, and anaphylaxis can occur within seconds to minutes and cause blood pressure to fail and a narrowing of the airways. What's interesting here, and by interesting I mean just absolutely awful, is that soy seems to be in absolutely every single processed thing these days. You cannot find, you can, obviously, I'm being very exaggerated here, but it is very difficult to find processed foods without soy in them these days. I swear it feels like it's in everything. And soy over time, especially the non-GMO or the non-organic soy, is going to wreak havoc on people's thyroids and their bodies in general. So we as a society continue to get unhealthier and unhealthier, even though we're trying, a lot of us are trying to do healthier things, but because of the things they've put into all of our foods, the way they've tweaked everything, it's almost impossible. All these genetically modified things, we're losing our nutrients on them. All these processed things, we're losing nutrients there, and then they're adding in things that are causing us long-term harm, the soy and things like that. It's like, come on now. Like, can we catch a break at all? The easiest thing to do is obviously grow things for yourself, for those of you who it's feasible for, and to eat as clean as humanly possible, but that's not always feasible. Sometimes you just want to go to a restaurant and order a juicy burger, or you want to go someplace and get a pizza, or you want to go someplace and get fajitas or tacos or whatever else. And they're not going to be clean. You don't know what the restaurants are using. You don't know what the manufacturers are putting into the foods that are sold to the restaurants that then come to you. They're not going to give you a breakdown of every single thing that they are cooking in the kitchen. So you have to be willing and able to take the risk of eating out at restaurants. But it sucks. You know, it sucks that we're at that point in society and life, whatever. Now, after affected products were distributed to the following stores in New York, for those of you who are New Yorkers: Food Garden Market, Windsor Market, Lincoln Market, and Food Universe. They said the product comes in a 16-ounce clear package labeled as tomato basil with rice and marked with the lot number 032222024 on the top side lid, and an expiration date of March 22nd, 2024. In case you're curious, the UPC code is 635-508-547-872. If you happen to have bought any of that at those 4 stores, there's the information you need. And as always, consumers who have purchased a product are urged to dispose of them, but we all know you need to return them and get your money back, boo-boo. Do not let them take your money and your product, okay? Lastly, attorney shortages lead the state of Ohio to begin their planning to wipe out thousands in student loan debt this year. Here's a summary of this, okay? Ohio plans to provide student loan debt relief through the Rural Practice Incentive Program, aiming to address the lack of legal representation in rural areas. The word rural is like the hardest thing to say, and it's the dumbest looking word, rural. There's nothing attractive about saying rural, just so we're all fully aware. The initiative targets newly licensed attorneys working in underserved communities and offers loan forgiveness for those working in public defense, prosecution, and other qualifying roles. Participants commit to 3 years of service and can receive up to $10,000 a year, totaling at least $30,000 in loan repayment. However, some critics argue that the program may be limited for attorneys with smaller debt amounts, and other options like income-driven repayment plans or public service loan forgiveness may be more preferable for the average law school graduate with substantial debt. Other states also offer similar programs, and federally, President Joe Biden has approved a $5 billion plan providing relief to 74,000 borrowers, including those in public service. So, that was just a little smattering of headlines across the world today and in the news and on online news. And I just wanted to bring you certain ones, something a little different today. Hopefully you guys don't mind. Hopefully you enjoyed it. A little less of me writing out my whole entire thought process and a little more like dotted, right? And of course, we had to talk about Krista. Hopefully Krista can figure out how to either earn more money or spend less money, one of the two things. I think we all feel the same way, either earn more or spend less. But if we could have that, unicorn of earn more and spend less at the same time, that would be even better, right? Anyway, I hope you guys are having a fabulous Sunday. 1 week from today, we get to relive 2020 all over again with the San Fran 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs duking it out for the Super Bowl. And in November, we get to relive 2020 again with, Trump versus Biden. And in February, this month, I think we're reliving 2020 again with another leap year. So it's like, deja vu, Twilight Zone, whatever you want to call this year. That's what it is. So there's that. Hopefully there's no new anything coming out this year like that came out in 2020. So there's that. You listen, I love you all immensely, Squirrel Tribe. Thank you for being here. Contemplate hitting the like button, contemplating subscribing. It's all up to you. Whatever you want to do, boo. I still love you. And I will see you guys again tomorrow. Okay, bye.